Hello everyone, Shaquille Yeager here, back with another video, and well, today I decided I wanted to make another one of these toy review videos since, well, I haven't done it in a while, so, well, might as well start now. Today, we're going to be reviewing 2 figures in total, more specifically, Godzilla x Kong the New Empire figures. These playsets being Godzilla and Shimu, Kong, and Scar King. And I'm really looking forward to opening these guys up and seeing how they are. Starting off with this set, we have Kong and Scar King together. And just by looking at them right now, they look they're already looking pretty cool, even inside of the box. And from the look of it, they also have that new heave thing that I guess is going to be a part of the movie. As you can tell from outside of the box, you can see Scar King, which, not gonna lie, is actually looking a little bit more cooler than Kong when I look at him. But yeah, there's Scar King, there's Kong, the logo, both their names. Side, you can see Godzilla and Kong outside. In the background, you can see pictures of Kong, Scar King, as well as I think like a background setting that you can put. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that once I release this, but then you also have whatever this is. So yeah, that's all the box is all about, and why don't we get these guys out of their prison? And here we have Kong and Scar King out of their packaging, and wow. I don't know why I said wow. Of course Scar King had to fall. Oh yeah, he has trouble standing up from the look of it, but let's see if I can try to get him to stand up at least decently. Maybe if I bend. Okay, that's good. Starting off by looking at, well, just ignore that that happened. Starting off by looking at Kong, the details on him are pretty good. I'm not too sure if I'm a big fan of the color though. It looks more like a heat signaturing or something, like something out of like the Predator movies, but yeah, I'm not too big on the colors, at least on like the chest area and the arms and stuff, but it's alright, I guess. I actually do have the original basic version of this mold in particular, and the colors on the one is not that bad. So yeah, I do have the original one, so I do know how that one looks without this paint, but not bad, I guess. The Beast Glove looks pretty cool. Basically the same figure as I've seen or opened up. But since I haven't reviewed that figure, I might as well talk about the articulation on this figure. So the head can swivel. It could also look a little up, but not by much, to be honest. So I just consider it more of a swivel, even though it's technically a ball joint. His arms could do a T-pose. They're also that joint that could, like, you know, move around, swivel, go up and down. The elbow is the same, and the wrist, tight swivel. There's nothing at the waist, which is alright, I guess. The same type of joint as the arms right here on the thigh, and just a simple knee bend. I could go that far, go back that far, and nothing at the feet. Oh, and unfortunately, this arm doesn't have much articulation, at least in the wrist area. Kind of hope that they would have at least had some articulation here, but oh well. But yeah, the articulation is not half bad for it, and besides the coloring on certain areas, the color is not that bad, as well as the details looking very, very good, especially on the face. I definitely do prefer this face sculpt over the 2021 version of Kong from Godzilla vs. Kong, which picture should be appearing right about here, so you can see the difference. But yeah, definitely prefer this face more than the other sculpt. Alright, now let's get into Scar King. First impressions on Scar King, since I do not actually own the original figure of this figure is my first time looking into it, and it's actually pretty cool. Even though I wasn't expecting this figure to be the size that it is, I still do like the look of it. It does give me those orangutan-like vibes, just like how it did in the trailers and stuff. But when I look at the face a little bit, it kind of looks more like a chimp when I look at it. I don't know if I'm the only one who sees this, but yeah. In terms of height, he's like I think he's about the same height as Kong, if not maybe a bit shorter in appearance, but I don't know, I can't really tell. But yeah, just looking at it, the details are pretty decent. The colors, I'm a bit mixed on the colors, but if I had to compare with this figure, I probably like his colors more than Kong's. And I do know that there's already like a basic version that you can get separately, but this figure's details are not bad, and the colors are not bad either. And I think I might, just by looking at pictures of the basic version and this one, I think I like the colors on this one more than the basic one. So yeah. Going on to articulation now. Well, let me see if I can remove his whip thing, his whip weapon. Yeah, there we go. So you can wrap it around him. Dang, why is this? Oh, this thing is on like a rubber band. Okay. Alright. What's that? Alright, there we go. And on the other side too? What the hell? Alright, I got that out. And now here's his whip weapon. Nothing too crazy, but an interesting looking weapon indeed. Like, not only you can whip this thing, but also it bites back too. Anyway, on to articulation of Scar King. So, you can swivel his head. From the look of it, it doesn't seem like he has a ball joint on the head area, so he can't really look up, which is unfortunate. Because it does look like there would be enough space for him to look up, but oh well. Pretty much the same amount of articulation as the Kong figure. Same range of movement and whatnot. Wrist can move, elbow bend and stuff. The only different articulation is this ab crunch, which is pretty new for these type of figures, as absolutely none of the figures have this specific point of articulation, and I think that's why this figure is pretty unique amongst them, since it has this like ball joint at the abs. You can have them like do more dynamic poses, which is neat. And the legs, nothing much new here, just like a sole at the thigh, bend at the knee, and nothing at the feet. So yeah, it's even though this figure's articulation is pretty on par with this one's, the added ab crunch definitely makes up for it, as I believe that, like, you know, with this amount of articulation you can easily do very dynamic poses and stuff. Like, okay, maybe this is not the most dynamic example, but you get what I mean. You have options. So yeah, and of course you can have him holding this little weapon, and yeah, he's not half bad. So you start whipping them Kongs. Probably not the best imagery in this particular month, but oh well. Why'd you have to be so difficult to deal with, Scar King? And as for their final accessory, we have this new heave, which is honestly more interesting than the original heave, which was basically like it was like a pretty simple looking aircraft. Well, this one is a lot more angular and has a lot more going on with it. It almost looks like it could be a part of like a mecha or something, in a way. Like you can actually attach this on the back of a mecha or something, or it could be like some kind of weapon. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like, honestly, even though this is probably the one accessory where you don't really care much about it, and you're only just like caring for the monster figures, but I'm not too mad that this was included. It was just, you know, could have been anything else, but not mad that it's included. So yeah, just put that right here. Alrighty, now we can get to size comparisons. So here we have the basic separate Kong figure. This might be a minute comparison because this figure is quite literally the same figure as this one. But yeah, this is just to compare how different the colors are between these versions. And obviously I prefer the basic version in terms of overall color, but both of these figures in general are pretty cool. As for another comparison, here we have this. Oh, crap. Here we go. Here we have this. Stand up, why don't you? Alright, we have this Mecha Godzilla figure, the one from Godzilla vs. Kong. However, this is not the basic one with articulation and stuff. This one actually makes sound effects once you like press this button right here. So yeah, I'm not too sure if the basic version is about the same height as this one that I have on hand, but yeah, he looks pretty imposing in front of these two guys. Yeah, I wish I did have the posable version, but I guess this could work as a good standing, I guess. Here we have another heave. Basically identical. Anyway, I was kind of kidding with that. This is not the last one. What I really meant by the last one was the OG 2021 Godzilla vs. Kong figure with the battle axe. And just to compare it with this newer Kong sculpt, you can clearly see a difference between the way the sculpts are, as well as the way the painting is. As you can tell, the sculpting, the detailing, and the painting overall is infinitely better on this guy. Whereas with this one, it seems to be more like a polygon model or something. And I do indeed like the look of the face more than this one. Oh, and if you're curious, this Kong can also wield the axe. I'm not even gonna bother trying to do it on this version because I've already attempted it on the original, and it took me absolutely forever to get the axe on there. So just take my word for it. And if you own the this or the basic version of Kong on hand, and you also have the axe as well, you could try it out for yourself. I recommend using a air dryer, like a blow dryer, and blowing on the arm a bit to soften the plastic up, and then put the hand in there. I didn't do it because I'm a freaking idiot.
Come to the rice fields, motherfucker.
Yeah. Overall, despite some of the mixed feelings about these figures, I do indeed like these figures in general. And I would say if you don't have either of these, or you can't find them separately, I'd say this is like your best bet at getting both of these versions of Kong, and Scar King. And besides the paint on Kong, I think this is like the best way you're ever gonna get Scar King in general. So yeah, those are my feelings on these guys. And next up on the chopping block, we have these guys, which I'm really looking forward to opening up. Godzilla and Shimu. So this time around, we have Godzilla and Shimu on the front of the packaging. Of course, Shimu looking so much like a turtle, it's not even funny. And it's basically the same type of packaging, minus the fact that Godzilla and Shimu are in the back, rather than Kong and Scar King. So really not much to talk about, really. So let's get these guys unboxed. And here we have Godzilla, or Evolved Godzilla, and Scar King. And as much as I want to check out Shimu so badly, I'm gonna take a look at Evolved Godzilla real quick, and then eventually get into Shimu. So, looking at it, just like with Kong, I do own the original basic version that you can get separately. And to my knowledge, the paint job isn't too much different from the one that I got on hand, but I still like it. Of course, the translucent dorsal plates are very nice, and even though on camera they look more red, they look more reddish, and granted they do look red even out of camera, but I noticed that they look a lot more red on camera. But anyways, the only minor difference that it has from the original is how the underbelly is a more lightish blue coloring, whereas with the other one it was like more toned down. But surprisingly, I actually do like this paint job a little bit more than the original, as I do like the more, I guess, brighter coloration with it. It keeps it from looking too boring, I guess. But yeah, as for articulation, the jaw can open up. It's kind of hard to open it up fully, but yeah, I could do it. You could kind of fake a swivel on the head, but it's really limited, and I don't even bother with it. You could have almost almost a full 360, but it's blocked by the thigh here. Although you could do it since the thigh isn't so like it doesn't bulge out too much, so it is possible, but I wouldn't force it either. Same thing on the other arm. Nothing at the waist. You can move the legs. You could also swivel the feet. And then as for the tail, it's just one big ball joint, so you can move the tail however you want to. And it's not segmented, so you can't really do any natural curves or anything, but that's alright. And I'm pretty sure most people have said this before, but you know, the sunken in stomach does look a bit weird, but as time moves on and you know, I look at this design more and more as the days go on, I'm starting to like the design a little bit. Like I'm starting to dig it a little bit, especially the dorsal plates. Though this is probably my favorite part about this design. My only minor critique is that I wish that the elbow spikes would have been at least painted the same color as the dorsal plates. That also goes the same for the spikes down here, and you know, the bagomizers right here, the tail spikes. But other than that, it's not that bad. It's totally not the worst thing in the world. Now let's get into Shimu, and just like with Scar King, this is technically my first look at the Shimu figure, so I do not have the original. And I'll be honest, comparing it to the original, I think I like this one's paint job infinitely better than the original, at least from what I've seen in photos. I don't know, it's a lot more brighter. It has more different variations of blue on it, and there's even some subtle blue hints on the body as well, on like the arms and the underbelly, to keep it from being too boring with the plain white color. So yeah, and when compared to Godzilla, he's a little bit on the bigger side. Yeah, and the details on this is
Very, very good.
yeah, and right. The underbelly, the scales are like also very good, and you know, they feel nice too. The top layer is alright, but the bottom layer is noticeably more detailed than the top layer, but what can you do? And the tail is also looking nice. So yeah, onto articulation. So mouth can open very wide and close as well. There's also some neck articulation, so you can actually move his head around, which is nice. That means you get more variation with the looks of the figure. The arms can move out and, you know, move forward and backwards. Same goes for the back legs. The wrist can also swivel a little bit. Although admittedly, despite being an interesting joint to include, I'm probably not going to use it as much. The same joint also appears on the ankle swivel is present on the back legs, which I'll be honest, I'll probably be using this joint more than the front. And of course, the tail is on a ball joint. However, due to the fact that this tail is slightly on a curve rather than Godzilla's slightly straight tail, this means you could get slightly more dynamic poses with the tail with this one, although it's just going to be permanently curved like this. So yeah. And I guess, you know, we might as well attempt this. So you can indeed make Shimo go upright, and I'm gonna be honest, it actually looks very, very cool. Like, he gives off very 1950s, like very Showa era monster vibes with him just standing up like that. Like, he almost gives me ultra monster vibes, or like the monsters you'd see in Ultraman. Or he also kind of looks like Gorgo when I look at it. Like, I don't know, a picture of Gorgo should be right here, so you'll see what I mean by that. But yeah, standing upright, he is taller than Godzilla, at least in terms of height. So yeah, he's a lot more imposing when he's upright. But of course, he is still pretty cool, even while in his quadrupedal stance. So yeah.
The mouth is open.
As for accessories, we have Godzilla's atomic breath piece. I can confirm that this breath weapon is practically the same as the other one I also have. It's practically the same weapon. No big difference here, so you can pretty much use these interchangeably if you wanted to. But yeah, comparing it to the atomic breath piece that is used for the 2021 version of Godzilla, I definitely do like the way this one looks. It has a very crystal-like appearance. It's very fiery looking, and yeah, you could put it. I have kind of a difficult time doing it, so it kind of takes some force to get it. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, you can put it in the mouth, and the detail I do like is if I just look more closely. Yeah, so as you can see, the breath particles almost kind of spew out of the sides of his mouth, and not just like in front. So like it actually does look pretty close to how the breath weapon actually looks in the films, and I do like that detail. It just makes the breath weapon all the more cool, in my opinion. So yeah, and it's not just Godzilla who has a breath weapon, but Shimu does as well. And this basically just looks like a whole crystal. Like, this just legit looks like the stuff that Walter White and Jesse be cooking up in their van, if you know what I mean. Anyway, yeah, I do like the way this one looks. Just like Godzilla's atomic breath, it does have a very crystal-like appearance, although it's a lot more ice-like, but I guess it's just the colors. And just like Godzilla, you could also put it in his mouth. So, only this time around, it's actually a little bit more simple. Like, it actually doesn't take that much force to do it. And all you have to do is just have his mouth closed like this. You also have the option of leaving it open, slightly open, but to keep it sturdy, you could also have it him chomping on it. But for aesthetics, I kind of just like it slightly open. So yeah, you could have these two do a beam battle. So yeah, now that. Alright, now let's get on to size comparison. So here we have the original figure that I was mentioning before. And like I said, there's really no difference or any noticeable difference between these two in particular, they're practically the same figure with the same amount of articulation and stuff. With the only minor difference just being that their underbellies are differently painted. And like I've said, I actually do prefer this figure's paint more than the original, which is a complete opposite from how I felt about the Kong figure. Yeah. Then, hold up.
Perfectly balanced,
Can't keep it
as all
balanced.
things should be.
Then we have the original 2021 Godzilla, more specifically the Atomic Breath version. And wow, what a change in appearance throughout the years. You can obviously tell it's not just from the dorsal plates, but from overall mass in general. You can tell that there's a difference between these two different versions of Godzilla. Because obviously with this one, he's a lot more chunkier and a lot more bulkier looking. Whereas with this one, he's a lot more thinner. He has longer arms, slimmer limbs. And yeah, there's obviously a clear difference, and he actually doesn't look too half bad with Shimo over here. The colors even kind of match a little bit. Yeah, unfortunately I do not have this guy's Atomic Breath on hand, at least in the current moment, but I can confirm that those Atomic Breath pieces are completely different once you compare them. And if you have those Atomic Breath pieces, you'll probably know what I mean. So yeah. And of course, I couldn't end this review without, of course, comparing them to the figures before. So here we have. Hold up. Just let me have them sitting. I'm standing like that. Here we have Scar King and Kong from the other set. And of course, these guys look amazing together. And honestly, looking at this is just making me look more forward to the movie itself. Especially seeing some of the monster battles that will be presented in here. So yeah, I definitely do like these guys together rather than just separately. So yeah, in general, these two sets are pretty cool. They have great figures. If I had to pick between the two sets on which one is my favorite, or has my favorite set of figures, I'd probably have to say Godzilla and Shimu are probably my favorites out of the bunch. Though that doesn't discount the fact that I also do like Kong and Scar King as well. It's just I honestly prefer the Godzilla and Shimu set a little bit more. If I had to get my final say on it and rank these figures out of 10, I would have to say Kong and Scar King are a probably a 6 or 7 out of 10. You know, they're pretty alright figures. Not amazing, but definitely not terrible at all. And I say a possible 7, mostly because of this Scar King figure. And as for the Godzilla and Shima set, I'd probably rank it more close to a 8 or a 9 out of 10. More because of the fact that I actually prefer both of these figures out of these two, and that I do like the paints on both figures rather than the fact that I only like the paint job on Scar King with the Kong set. So yeah, that's basically all my thoughts about these figures. And if you yourself are looking forward to the movie and want to get figures to to put in your collection or whatever, if I had to suggest, I'd probably recommend, most likely recommend the Godzilla and Shimu set, since I just find these to be the better figures, in terms of paint and overall looks in general. But if you want to get both sets, I'd probably highly recommend them, because they're all great figures in general. And my opinion, of course, is my opinion. You might feel different about these figures than I do. So yeah. And that's it for the review. Apologies if this video seems a bit awkward or rushed or anything. I didn't mean to make it this way. It's just, you know, it's the morning and I'm still a bit tired after waking up. And I just had this idea for the whole week at this point, but I've been kind of pushing it off because of stuff like school and whatnot, and I never really got to make time for this review. So you know, I hope you guys enjoy it regardless. And if you don't, you know, you can just give me suggestions on what I can do to make these type of videos a lot more better. And you know, of course, I'll read all the comments, since I read majority of the comments. And you know, whatever type of suggestions you have, I'll try to take them and, you know, like, learn next time I make one of these review videos. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't know when I'm gonna do another one of these videos. Probably not for a long while, since I don't really have anything new that I can think of that I might be able to review on this channel. But if anything comes up and I might end up and I get something that is new and I think you guys be interested in seeing me reviewing, then I'll just let you know through like community posts or whatnot. But yeah, this has been it for the video, and yeah, this has been Shaquille Yeager signing out, and always remember to keep moving forward and never stop swinging that sword. I don't know why it made a Guts reference out of nowhere, but whatever. Bye! Oh, and before I completely end the video, I have to bring in a special guest here, my sister here. Yeah, what do you think about these figures in general?
What is that?
What do you mean? What's that?
What is that?
Oh, this is Shimu. This is basically this guy's enslaved pet that he keeps to fight these two.
Ew. Why Godzilla look like he's hot? Why is that red?
I don't know. I'm not the one who would try to make Godzilla look like a crackhead, but yeah. I don't know what to tell you. He just I guess he got into a new diet, I suppose.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm breaking into your car!